In this video, I'll cover the topic of manual versus automatic scheduling, including the differences between them, why automatic scheduling is generally better for you, and how we can control which type of scheduling is active for both new and existing tasks. So why does the type of scheduling we use matter? Microsoft Project allows us to schedule tasks in two ways, either manually or automatically. Manual scheduling places the requirement to define the start and end dates of tasks with the project manager themselves. The dates entered in for tasks will become mandatory. In other words, they tend to stick regardless of any existing relationships to other tasks. This can be an advantage, but it requires careful thought and extra manual work to update if things change in the future. The more tasks you schedule manually, the more risk you face having additional work down the line than is likely necessary. Automatic scheduling, on the other hand, allows Microsoft Project to calculate the task start and end dates for you based on the information that you add to the program as you supply it. This information includes project start and finish dates, logic links between tasks, calendar selections, and the resources that we've assigned. Automatic scheduling is a much faster alternative to get your program up and running, and so knowing how to use and switch into this mode for new tasks can save you a lot of time. You may also have an existing program where you've added tasks already using the manual scheduling mode, and now you want to switch them into automatic mode to let Project calculate things for you. So knowing how to do this can help you as well. Okay. So we do need to tell Project to schedule automatically ourselves, because the default mode Project uses is the manual one. Making this switch into automatic mode is one of the first things we do when starting a new program. Right now, this blank program is in manually scheduled mode for new tasks, and you can see this indicated down in the lower left corner of Project here. To show you what manually scheduled tasks first look like, I'll create a few here. I'll also create some more tasks, but these ones will be automatically scheduled to compare the differences. To do this, I first need to change the task scheduling mode for new tasks, which is accessed by clicking on that same area in the bottom left where it says New Tasks Manually Scheduled. This is actually a button, which gives you a list of your two scheduling modes and includes a brief description next to each of them. I'll select Auto Scheduled. Notice how in the bottom left corner it now says New Tasks Auto Scheduled. A good way to find out which scheduling mode you're in for new tasks in your own program is to check what it says here. Now I'll create those extra auto-scheduled tasks. Okay, so comparing between the manually and auto-scheduled tasks, we can see that the new auto tasks have some start and finish dates calculated straight away, whereas the manual tasks are blank. The auto tasks also have a duration calculated and suggested, which is the amount of time between these two calculated dates. The start date calculated by default for a new auto task is what the program considers to be the project start date. This will be the current day unless you say otherwise, which we can do by using the project information option, which is found under the project tab and the properties group. Here in the dialog, I can change the project start date. If I change the start date to the 12th of May instead and click OK, you can see the auto tasks will update their own dates accordingly. For manually scheduled tasks, on the other hand, these sections are blank. To get Project to recognize a start date for new tasks, we need to define the start date ourselves, or put in some task logic. Say we know that tasks 1, 2 and 3 are all 5 working days in duration. Putting this information in, Project can't do anything with it yet as it still doesn't know anything about when these tasks should start. But if we add logic to make these tasks follow on from each other, you can see now that task 1 will take on the project start date as its own start date. In turn, Project uses the duration data we've added in alongside these logic links to calculate the end date for each of the tasks. Right now, on the Gantt chart, this looks fine, like any normal progression of tasks. If I assign the same durations to the auto tasks, because Project has already guessed their start dates, it uses these durations to update their finish dates automatically straight away. Adding the same kind of logic to the auto tasks makes both of these groups of tasks look identical. Right now, nothing about the manual setup stands out to suggest that it could give you issues in the future. Let's say the project has started, and we need to adjust some task durations because reality has caused them to play out differently than in our plan. Say task 1 actually took 10 days. If I change this duration for task 1, notice how even though we've said task 1 has to finish before task 2 can start, the start date of task 2 doesn't update in line with task 1's duration change. If you're expecting Project to account for the logic when you make a change like this, the reason why this doesn't happen may not be immediately obvious. The reason for this difference again is that when dates are assigned to a manually scheduled task, project takes these dates to be the be-all and end-all, similar to a hard constraint of must start on or must finish on. Once you set some logic or some start and finish dates, project will hold these tasks in their exact place unless you go back and manually update either the task logic or the start dates. To have the manual tasks reflect the same on the Gantt chart as the auto ones, you need to manually delete and then re-enter the logic on task 2 and then task 3, or manually update their start dates to their new places. Updated durations will affect the finish date of the manual task in question, but not the start dates of any other manual tasks, regardless of whatever logic you may otherwise be expecting to control your program's behavior. Even if I made these manual corrections for this single change, if anything else changes again in the future, I'd need to go back and fix them again. And this is just for a simple chain of 3 manual tasks. One duration change in a program of even 100 of these tasks could probably keep you busy for a lifetime. Auto-scheduled tasks, on the other hand, do not consider the dates you enter to be definite, and they will update fluidly with a change in any task duration that is linked to them through the program logic. It will also update with any changes in the logical relationships made between tasks in the future. This mode of task scheduling is much more flexible and intuitive when you're updating a program to reflect changes, and as we know changes are likely to take place, this is why we think it's an important setting to know about, and one that could save you heaps of time in the long term. Alright, so now say that we've already written a program, but we've used manual tasks and now we want to switch these to auto tasks. How do we do this? Changing the task scheduling mode for existing tasks is slightly different. First, we need to select any tasks that we want to change, then navigate to the Task tab, and then under the Task group we select either the Manually Schedule or Auto Schedule option, depending on what we want. You can see that if I set all of them to Auto Schedule, Project now updates them properly in the way we're likely looking for. I say likely because there may be circumstances where manual scheduling is what you're looking for, and so remember that you can always come back to these options to change how new and existing tasks are scheduled in your program. Generally though, it's important to understand that the program is likely to suffer the more it is prevented from calculating start dates automatically using the task relationship logic, which because of the prevalence of dependencies between tasks in reality, automatic scheduling is very likely to be more realistic for us and in closer alignment with our expectations. Some further quick notes about checking task scheduling modes in your program. We've formatted the bar stars in our program to indicate manually scheduled tasks differently to auto-scheduled ones. By checking the Gantt chart as you build the program, this is a good way to quickly identify whether we've got the correct setting. Check out our bar stars formatting tutorial for more on that. Outside of this, another way you can quickly tell which mode a selected task is in is by looking at whether manually schedule or auto schedule is highlighted in the tasks group on the Task tab. You can also find out by accessing the task information by double-clicking on the task in question, then under the General tab you can see which mode the task is scheduled in. And that's it. Hope this video was helpful. If you've got any queries or need any help, send us an email to justask@menlo-academy.com and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. See you in the next one.